All right, I want to back you up for a minute. Before I got serious about trying to document building this thing, I was working on these moon hubcaps, and I may have some pictures I can show you, but they were covered in that red paint and had rust and stuff all over them. And of course, I stripped the paint off of them. They were still pretty bad. So I actually, on my bench grinder, one side I've got a stone and on the other side I got a wire wheel. So I took the wire wheel to them and got all the raised imperfections off of it, and then wet sanded with 1,000 grit sandpaper. That's all I had. But they still don't look great. You can see they got these discolorations on them. And these are aluminum. Here's the other one. It had a big dent in it. You can actually see it. I guess it's where they ran into something, and as they moved, it gouged a dent in it. But I got my ball peen hammer and beat them out as good as I could. Of course, I'm toying with the idea of buying new ones. Boss lady don't want me to. She kind of likes these being imperfected. But if anybody knows any way to get these looking better, please comment and let me know. But I tried to pop them on to see what they looked like, and I treated them like old Ford bowl hubcaps. And I set them up there and smacked them a couple of times with my rubber mallet and put big dents in them. So I had to go back and beat them back out and refinish them, get them looking as good as I could. So I'm gonna have to look at how they're the little twangy things that hold these on. They must have way too much tension on them or something. So let's go fiddle around with those, see if we can get these on. All right, so here we are. We're over here on the passenger side, I guess it would be. It's the non-customer facing side. So I'm going to use it as my guinea pig and use the worst hubcap and see if we can get these adjusted. See, it's got these little twanger things, and I think this lip is supposed to fit behind there, but it's a very tight fit. Like I said, I tried to force them on there with my rubber mallet, and I ended up putting dents back in it. So I'm just gonna try to relieve a little tension on these things. Okay, that seemed to do it. I still not the prettiest thing around, but better than it was. All right, let's go play with the other one. All right, we're over here on the driver's side. As I was coming over here and setting up, I was realizing how nonsensical that was, because in a camper, all the sides are passenger sides. Okay, but we're on the customer facing side. How about that? So let's relieve a little pressure. See, I'm only beating around the edge, thinking I won't dent that, but I need to take it off a little more. See what we got. There we go. It's got dirty from all the other work I've been doing. But there we go. Let me move you all around here and get you a better look at that. Ooh, ain't she pretty? Okay. Well, that's just one more little thing to mark off the list. Alright, before we paint, we need to take these scroll work pieces off. And I'm also going to need to take this sunshade off. It's come apart. They're not connected down here. And it'll come apart if we leave it like it is. So we will take that off, but I'm going to need some help to do that. So we'll hang on. And this is an assortment of standard and Phillips head screws, and we'll just have to see what happens. It may be pretty easy. I've been kind of surprised how easy some of these have come off. We definitely want to save and clean these up and repaint them, because they help give it its character. Alright, that's one, and we'll put this over in the storage pile. All right, let's go get the other one. And it's all standards. And an assortment of different kinds of screws. But that's all right. Easy job. All right, to the storage pile. See, somebody had tied probably a banner or something to it at one time. All right, let me go put this on the pile. Okay, I've been to the store this morning and got some supplies. We're going to try to patch these holes as another part of the prep for the painting. So let me turn you around here and show you what we got to fix. All right, again, this is the customer facing side, so we want it to look good. There's a little hole right there, and you got this big hole right here. They used to have some kind of a water inlet for the sink or something there. And then in our sanding, we found one of these nut-headed screws stuck in there for some reason. I've looked around on the inside and I don't see a need for it. So I don't know. And then we uncovered those two holes up there we're sanding where something was mounted at one time. So we're going to attempt to fix those. And let me show you what I got and how intend to try to do it. This one's gonna be the biggest problem because it's the biggest hole. The other one's small, no big deal. Hopefully this one won't be a big deal either. All right, here's what I got. Just some JB Weld spreaders and some fiberglass matting. What I'm gonna do is mix up some of the JB Weld, just cut me a little square out of the fiberglass matting and, you know, load it up with the JB Weld and then slap it to the inside panel. And that will give me something to put some more of the JB Weld on the outside. It can stick to the matting and let it cure, and then we'll sand it down smooth prior to painting. So that's the idea. Let's see how it goes. All right, so let's mix up. Here's our first little patch. And you're supposed to mix equal parts. Looks about right to me. Now we just mix it up. That's a pretty even gray consistency. Well, we had to pick up our patch, but let's run out to the camper. Okay, we're here on the inside. Here's our hole. So I'm just gonna moisten that up good. Not really too concerned about how this looks because it's going to be covered up. And I may come back, depending on how I feel after we get it done and sanded, we may come back and put another patch over this one. All right, let's run back outside. All right, we're back on the outside. You can see our hole. It's got a base on the bottom. It's recessed. So I'm gonna put a little in here and let that cure. And we can see about sanding. We may have to put a couple coats. Yeah, all right, let's just let that dry a little bit, and then we'll come back and put a little more on there. All right, in the meantime, we got a little of this left, so let's go ahead and just put some in there. All right, let's go look at those other places. All right, while that dries, let's turn our attention to the other side of the camper, the non-customer facing side. So we're not as concerned about it, but I still want it to be done right and look good. So let's look at what we're gonna try to do. All right, here we are on the other side of the camper. And while I'm here, we're still gotta do something about that hot water heater. From some videos I've seen, you're supposed to just disconnect it and undo these screws, and it's supposed to slide out, but we'll test that theory out. All right, this is where you used to fill up your water tank. And I don't know what we're gonna do about a water tank, if we're gonna have one, where it's gonna go. So in any event, I'm gonna patch this hole. And the first thing I'll do is get my sander and clean up a nice big spot, at least as big as my patch. Then I'm gonna bring those scrap panels up and figure my corrugations out this time, and then cut me a patch. Put some butyl tape behind it, some screws, and get that sealed up and done before we paint. Got some airplanes overhead. This was a exterior outlet. You can still see the old wiring. And we would probably want an exterior outlet, so I would probably leave that. And it's in a fairly accessible location on the inside. If it turns out we don't want one, or this won't work location, I'll come back and patch this one the same way if I'm successful on that one. All right, so let's give this a whirl. I forgot to turn y'all on. Let me get y'all up here close. All right, here we are. We're prepped for the patch, and here's what I'm thinking on the patch. Is make the top right along this edge, thinking that water might, run over it instead of running behind it. And then down here, maybe right along this edge, in the middle of that, again, water running off. Sides, ain't much we can do. I just want to make sure I get my butyl tape outside these holes. So, probably something I can. So now, let's go grab our donor scrap panel and figure out how to mark where we're going to cut. All right, be right back. All right, here's what I've got left from where we cut the serving window. And looking at, not that it matters because we're going to paint it all, but this piece right here, looks like that might be about the right. I believe that'll work. Whoops, sorry. I was looking at the panel and not the camera. So I think that width will work. Now we need to figure out our corrugations. And that looks pretty good right there. See how high we need to go? We need to go to right there. Well, I can't do it and hold it too. But we know we need one full corrugation, a piece and another piece. So we need to cut it about right there. I believe. Let's hold it back up. See what I can do. I think that'll do it. Let's go cut it. Well, I'm gonna clean it up first. I'm gonna scrape all that old paint off, sand it all off. Then we'll cut it. Okay. Whew. Let's go get the sander. All right, we're back with the sander, and I'm not sure if it's better to sand it on the grass or the concrete. We fix to find out. Probably, I bet the concrete, so I can get some resistance. All right, I didn't want to press down too hard and deform the corrugations in it. And I wanted to clean it before I cut it, because if I cut it, the piece would be so small and I couldn't hold on to it and sand it at the same time. So I'll go get my angle grinder with my cutoff tool and we'll zip that and we'll test fit it. All right. All right, here we go. We'll cut it off, and this time I will do it in the grass. Well, after a lot of shaping, it's almost art involved in this. I didn't want straight edges, I wanted curved edges. So, that's what we end up with, which I think looks pretty darn good if I say so myself. Which I am. So I'm going to pre-drill some holes and get our butyl tape, and let's get this patch installed. All right. So let's look at this, make sure we get it positioned the way we want it. That's gonna be the best right there. And then put my 4 screws in the flat part. You can see there's some old wooden blocking behind there where the water inlet was mounted to. If one of my screws hit some of that, that's more the better. Now I'm just wondering, is four screws going to be enough? I'm thinking it might not be. Make sure, all right, we're in our original location. So I'm gonna add one in the middle. Okay. Now let's go cut our butyl tape and put on the back. All right, we're on our little workbench, and here's our patch. Here's our butyl tape. It's just a rubberized kind of material that you put between your patch and your existing panel, and you screw them in, and the compression forms the seal. So let's cut us some pieces here. Get our length about right. And we want the edge of the butyl tape on the edge of the patch. There's a little overlap on that tape. We want to make sure we don't have any gaps. I'm going to peel that paper and make sure that our butyl gets up against that next one. Okay. And this is like cutting hair. You can always cut a little more off, but it's a whole lot harder to make it longer. And as you compress it, when you screw it in, it deforms and really, helps you make sure you get all your gaps filled. I'm sitting here thinking it might even be better to refrigerate this tape or something before when you know you're going to work with it. Make it a little easier to work with. Let's see if we can get our tape off. This is what I used to have the most trouble with. The butyl tape wants to, it don't want to turn loose the paper. Which is where I was thinking if you were to do it, chill it first. There you go. You never get it started. There we go. Yeah. I guess it's like anything. You figure out how you're supposed to do it. Which, as I tell y'all repeatedly, I do not know what I'm doing. Come on. Let's see, that one's wanting to pull. There we go. Huh. Coming from that end, it was wanting to come all to pieces. Come on, one more. Give me an edge. Yeah. Okay. Let's kind of work this into place. We don't have any gaps or big gouges. Okay. And none of our screw holes are visible, which means our screws will go through the butyl tape and self-seal those holes too. So let's get our drill and our screws, and I will meet y'all back over at the camper. All right, so here we are. And the first thing I'm gonna do is just try to self-start a couple of these screws to get, where I can line it up in the holes I pre-drilled. Okay, let's stick our fingers here. All right, you can see all the screws are coming out through the butyl tape. All right, let's see if we can find okay. Alright, now we're going to tighten them up gently. Alright, y'all come look at this. Alright, one thing you want to look for is that it's squeezing the caulk out. And as you can see, it's done that. And it doesn't look too bad. It looks a little industrial, but not too bad. All right, now we'll trim off that excess after it dries. Let's go back and check our Bondo. All right, update on our patches. See, they're drying pretty good. Now that one was deep, so it's gonna take a while. And I'm not sure it's not gonna need a little touch up when we're done. Our other two, they're drying. It says 4 to 6 hours. It's sitting in this Gulf Coast sun on this side, so it won't take that long, but we'll probably leave them overnight anyway and check on them tomorrow. All right, let's see about cleaning this up a little bit. All right, so I'm putting my tools and stuff, cleaning up before I move on. And I'm looking at this and I said, this just don't look right. What is wrong with this thing? And then I realized this screw has lost the little seal washer that comes on them. That little thing's gone, so it's smaller and doesn't come out as far. So let's rectify that situation. That look more better. All right, looks kind of army industrial or something, but should be weather tight.